What's up, everybody? I am so glad to be back on a positive note and finally had a couple days of rest from all the bloodshed going on in the market. I mean, it just feels good to be done. Now, I'm not saying that we are out of this by any stretch, but any kind of positivity over the course of these last 3 weeks to a month is greatly appreciated. And to be honest, I woke up this morning feeling great. The minute I woke up, I checked my phone, kind of see where Bitcoin is. Did it fall? Did it rise? And it was great. I mean, it looked like it just broke that 8,000 support out as I was waking up at about 6 o'clock in the morning. It looked like it was at 82 and change, and it was just nice to see. Just a nice change. Really needed. Let's kind of go over a couple things. So I know I told you guys that I wanted to start talking about, certain projects here and there that I kind of look up that kind of interest me. And this one actually has two. It's twofold, right? So it's obviously a coin, but it's also a product, and it's a working product. So as you can see, what I'm using here is what's called the Brave browser. Now, the reason I downloaded this browser is obviously I heard of a coin called Basic Attention Token. If you guys haven't heard about it, definitely look them up. They're right here, basicattentiontoken.org. There's a great video over here, about 4 minutes. I'll kind of tell you what they're about. We're going to go over that in a minute. But I'm going to tell you the reason I decided to download this. Obviously, if we're traders, we have a ton of tabs open all the time. And what does that do? Well, it kind of uses a lot of the CPU of your computer and really slows things down. So the reason I went to Brave is because I've been a Chrome user since the beginning of time, right? I had a Mozilla Firefox in the very beginning, used it for a few years, and then sorry, give me 1 second. As Chrome came out, it just took over because it was quicker, it was nicer, it didn't have all the bloatware attached to it. So when you clicked it, it just came up, and we have gotten really spoiled in today's times where time is money. And the quicker that you can perform tasks, the more profitable you will be. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. If I can save, 15 minutes, an hour a day, who knows? I'm going to try to save that time. So Chrome was great. But what I've noticed is now that I have 10, 15, 20 browser windows open at any moment, my computer would just kind of bog down to the point where it was awful to use. Painful is really the word. And, I'd have to restart my computer like multiple times a day, which there is nothing more frustrating than having to really restart your computer, right? You have all these browsers open. You have your Binance open. You have, basically everything. You'd have to reopen it and then get it set up the way you like to have it set up every time. Now, if you have to restart 3, 4, 5, 6 times per day, well, that gets kind of annoying. So, you know what? I was like, I know that my browser is taking up all of my memory because I open up my task manager in my computer. And it tells me, Chrome is using 70% of your CPU. So I was like, you know what? Let me just try to download this new browser. I kind of like what the company is about, and we'll go over what they do in a moment. But like, you know what? Let me just download their product and see how their product is. So I did download it. We'll talk about some features in a second, but what I noticed was the CPU usage went down to half of what Chrome was. If Chrome was at about 70, right now with all these windows I have open, I'm running at about 30. So much, much better. Stop me from having to reboot my computer constantly. And a couple cool features on the browser itself. So first off, it's got this little line over here. And what you could do is it's asking you, do you want shields up or down? So what do the shields do? Well, the shields protect you from any ads, trackers, any HTTPS upgrades. It'll tell you, do you want to block ads? Do you want to block third-party fingerprinting, cookies? It'll give you the option to block all of it. So this browser will block all ads. If you're a person that doesn't like to see ads, I mean, who does? We are just surrounded everywhere we go by ads today, which kind of will bring me to what they're about in a moment. But let's go over a couple features. So, as traders, we have a couple of websites, more than a couple, that we revisit on an hourly basis or less, right? One of them would be, Live Coin Watch, if you guys use this. And if you don't, you probably use something similar. See how the coins are doing, what's up, what's down, where they're sitting at the market cap. This is where you start your real analysis from. You look at historical data and obviously the total market cap. That's kind of important, I would think. Bitcoin dominance. So these little windows over here, aside from these big windows, these little windows are actually called pinned windows. You can pin them, and every time you open a new browser window, these pins will be here, and they run in the background. As you can see, I could just hover over them without clicking anything, and it's going to show me. And if I decide I want to use them, I could just click, and you'll see the dim goes away, and it becomes an active window. So you could just hover over them. It'll kind of show you what's there. So, what do I have? Again, CoinMarketCap. I have my cryptocurrency calendar, Twitter, news, right? My signal finder. If you guys don't know what this is, then you probably haven't watched some of my previous videos. Kind of an important tool. Just found out about it not long ago. This is going to help you when the market starts going back up, kind of take the guesswork out of looking and finding charts that are tradable. Obviously, it's not going to tell you what to trade. It does give you recommendations, but at least it'll go on whatever recommendations basically you provide. If you want to go with trend following or look for stuff that's basically based on oscillators of your choosing, if you have a specific strategy, and if you don't, they will provide some strategies for you. But yeah, I use this, so it's going to be one of my pinned programs, right? And obviously TradingView. So the one I have pinned is usually Bitcoin. Obviously, I'm always going in and out of Bitcoin as far as seeing, because especially during the last 3 weeks to a month, everything is following Bitcoin. So what's the point in looking at any other chart really when it all basically is mimicking Bitcoin? So basically, that in a nutshell is the browser. The biggest thing for me is, again, the ability for the CPU usage to go down. I got to tell you guys, I'm using a monster computer. I have 16 gigabyte RAM. I have a solid state hard drive, an i7. This is a loaded computer, and it was just awful to use with Chrome. So really happy from that standpoint. So let's talk about really what their project is. So, today when we browse for anything, we have to go through a search engine, right? That's how we live today. If I want to search, I got to Google it, Bing it, all the other, 500 other search engines out there. And what is that? What kind of problems does that really pose? Well, that kind of poses a big problem because everything we're searching for is basically is held onto, and they're not held onto from, you know, companies, nonprofits, or anything where you have to be worried. These are corporations that have all of your personal information, every single bit, where you are, what you typed, what you're looking at. You know, it knows when you sleep. They know every piece of information on us, right? And that's an issue. So, what better in a decentralized? My dog wants to say hi. So, what's better than this technology that we have now with the blockchain being decentralized, decentralize everything? What's better than decentralizing information like this? Well, it's still important to track you, right? Not as far as track you, but it's helpful to, if let's say I'm shopping for something, if I'm going to see ads, then I want to see relevant ads, right? I don't want to be shopping for sneakers and looking at ads for toothpicks. You know, I want to see relevant ads if I'm going to see ads at all. And that's important. So there is a part that needs to collect information. But the problem is the companies that own the information. We're just making them extremely powerful companies. There's no doubt about it that these are some of the most powerful companies in the world. And that's the reality of where we live today. So, you know, now this company, Brave, Basic Attention Token, they have decentralized this whole platform and still allows to provide you ads and take your information, but in a decentralized manner, which is a very important part of the equation. So not one company owns it. It's basically open. It's open source. So that's huge. And then the aspect of, do you see ads? So obviously this has an option over here to disable ads, right? So why would you want to enable ads? Well, that's their second piece of technology. So today, the way it works, if I'm a retailer and I want to pay Google to, you know, provide ads to people, ABC company has to pay. Well, that would be kind of weird because Google is ABC company. So me, XYZ company, has to pay Google, ABC, Alphabet company to advertise in this space, right? But me as a consumer, I'm being shown ads left and right my whole life, and I am not being compensated for it. Well, whoever thought of being compensated for watching ads, right? We watch ads all the time. Yeah, I mean, our lives are filled with ads. So, you know, we're in watching TV. Think about this concept for a minute, right? We're watching TV, and we have two choices. We can either pay a monthly subscription to watching TV, but have our TV filled with ads every 15 minutes like we currently do now. Or we can choose to pay for TV and not be served any ads because we're paying for an ad-free system, is, in my opinion, the way it should work. And that's kind of like what they've done here. They're actually paying subscribers, people that use their browser, to being open to being served with ads. If you choose you don't want ads, that's fine. But if you choose to see the ads, you're going to now be compensated for the ads. And that's beautiful because that makes sense. That makes sense, right? So now everybody wins. So you have the privacy issue gone with the browsing history. You have an awesome product where the browser actually works. And then you're actually being compensated for seeing ads, for viewing them. Yeah? So now you can also, they have a way that you can also give your favorite publishers or YouTube, people or anybody, you can actually compensate them through the browser. If you feel like they're providing you great content, you can actually donate to their tokens right to them from the browser. So just an awesome project altogether. Again, they are one of the few coins that actually have a working project at this point, a working product. I'm super excited about, don't get me wrong, I am super excited about all the projects. Well, 90% of the projects that are coming out. They have some amazing things coming out with this whole blockchain technology and the centralized kind of version of everything, and I'm loving it. But a lot of these coins do not have working products yet. So we'll get there, but Brave currently does, and their business plan actually works great. So the last thing is really, just like anything else, the product is important, what they're about is important, but just as important is their team, right? Can their founders or team bring them to the promised land? You have to have people with great backgrounds already in order to say, okay, this project has the ability to go all the way. So who is the founder of this company? Well, none other than the creator and co-founder, the creator of JavaScript. So JavaScript is a programming language that's basically used in pretty much everything today, right? He is the creator of JavaScript. Not a famous programmer, he is the creator. And he is the co-founder of Mozilla Firefox. The co-founder. So he knows how to build browsers, right? And this is definitely a browser that I'm enjoying using. So, the team is there, the product, the vision, it's basically there. I like what they're about. I definitely think that, taking some power away from the major corporations like Google, Yahoo, Bing, Microsoft, all those guys, that's a huge thing. And really, that's really what we should be focused on, taking some of that power back, because they are, at this point, the most powerful companies, and I'm sure it's not long, and I'm sure that it's already been done where they have abused their power unlimited amount of times already. I don't even want to think about what goes on behind the scenes there with all that power. So yeah, I like what they're about. Besides that, let's kind of go over how the trading has been for the last couple days. I haven't made a video in a couple days, so let's kind of go over what those numbers look like and what I basically did. So 2 days ago is really where the market kind of started to shift a little bit, and it was kind of going sideways after the landslide that we had. And let me see if all the stuff is here. Yeah. So just give me 1 second. Yeah. So it finally kind of started to shift, which is great. And then I did the natural stupid thing that I guess somebody does when they're bored. Obviously, after a market crash, you don't know what is going to happen. You cannot do any technical analysis. You have no idea, is this just a temporary correction before another crash, just like we had 3 days ago? So, what I ended up doing was just gambling pretty much. And I had this conversation, right? We had this conversation a few days ago that I was going to do my best to try to become a very disciplined trader and really start focusing on the numbers. So, what did I do? I threw everything that we talked about out the window and I started gambling. And the kind of numbers they show for, right? So, as you could see on February 5th, when the market started to shift, I was doing some trades while it was going down, while it was going sideways, going up. You just couldn't read anything, but I was just kind of taking some positions. As you can see, my first position was a very was a nice profit. It was at 3.5%. Again, I'm not looking at the dollar amounts, and I'll tell you why in a minute, but just the percentages, and that kind of like got me excited. Like, wow, yeah, let's do this, right? And then, as you can see from there, I ended up taking a total of 13 trades for a negative 6.6%, and a total of, I think it was like $120 negative. Yeah. So it's really not about the $120. It's more about the percentages, and this 6.5% that I'm down, I now have to make that up just to get to an even status before I can start pulling ahead. So that's how I'm really looking at it. And again, the reason for that is on a previous video, you heard me talk about how I'm shifting my focus from my previous thought when I actually had a bankroll at, $7,500 that has now dwindled down to $1,500. I've now shifted my focus, instead of me kind of constantly pumping in money and failing, which makes no sense, to now I'm going to shift to a compounding system. So now it's all about percentages for me, and now I'm going to be focused on not the dollar amount, because let's be real. I mean, do you get excited about $32? Do you get excited about $18 or $64? It's not exciting. It's not exciting at all. So rather than me looking at the amounts, and when I win, I'm only winning 40. So my mindset is like, oh, you made $40. Well, that's awesome. And when I lose, I lose. So when I win, I feel down. When I lose, I feel down. So it's been kind of like a destructive cycle. So again, that's where I've shifted, and now I'm focused on making between 3 to 5% a day, with 3% on the low end, and that'll allow me to focus on just being in the positive all the time, not taking stupid trades. Which brings me to the next day, where I kind of started making some smarter decisions. I was trading like a real scalper this day, because my train of thought was, listen, I don't know if the correction is over. The last thing I'm going to do is sit in Bitcoin and put a 5 or 10% stop on it and go away from the computer, because I can't just give up 5 or 10%. Right? In hopes of Bitcoin going up, which it hasn't gone up. And I wasn't convinced that we were over. Still not convinced. So I didn't want to do that. So I was constantly in and out, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes. And really small, tight stops, but was really using the order book to really focus on where the smartest entries would be behind big people that had big walls up. And it ended up working. I ended up taking a total of 19 trades, and this is within like 2 hours. And in those 19 trades, it was up 4%. I think the net total wasn't anything big. It was $75. But again, the 4% is really what I was focused on. And, I was happy with the results in that situation. It kind of also tells me that hopefully when the market starts to go up, or at least in a normal pattern where things go up and down independently of Bitcoin, which is not the case now, where everything is just following Bitcoin to a T. hopefully that'll allow me to trade better and be more successful, because at this point I don't really have that many more mistakes to make. I have to start showing profit. I have to start being consistent if I'm going to hit these goals that I've set for myself. And I'm not one to just readjust goals constantly. This is my goal. This is what I need to do. I'm not going to add more time. I have 90 days to do this. No exceptions. And that's that. So it's just basically time to put the hammer down. Hopefully this correction is done. The truth is I still don't know. I think that Bitcoin realistically can either get back down to this 7,000 level right here, to kind of do a head and shoulders pattern on the top, or just possibly come down before it kind of goes up. Kind of show you realistically this can kind of go from here to here, right? Then it can easily bounce it back up to here and then go right back down to here. So this is definitely a possibility. So we'll see. Right now the market as a whole is just stalled. Everything is basically, again, just mimicking Bitcoin. Bitcoin's not moving. There's really nothing moving. So there's really not much to do at this point than to just wait and see what happens. So, that's where we are. In the meantime, my money is sitting in Bitcoin. I'm not really fearing it as I'm watching it pretty closely. So I'm not fearing it just crash and me not kind of being around and seeing it. And that's really the plan as of this point until the markets start moving again. And it's time to trade, So, there's really not much else to do except for just kind of sit in the sidelines and just kind of watch what everything's happening. It's not like it was where the market was moving independently of Bitcoin. You can have some coins up, some coins down, moving in different directions. So if, can't find any trades in this coin, you're going to go to another chart. You're going to find other trades. Not today. Basically, everything is just mimicking Bitcoin. If Bitcoin stalls, everything is stalling. It's just kind of weird that way. Now, I get the whole concept of, money coming in and it goes to Bitcoin. So if money's coming out, it's coming out of Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin crashes, everything else crashes. As Bitcoin goes up, then things can kind of move independently, go up or down. As Bitcoin goes up, they're saying it drains the altcoins. Bitcoin goes down. Well, I don't know, but it's just kind of weird that every coin has huge buy and sell walls, just kind of not letting price go anywhere. Every coin. I mean, I'm not talking 50% or it's every single coin. Every chart I bring up is not moving. It's all just still. So there's nothing much to do at this point except to sit and watch. And I guess that's better than bleeding, right? So, that's kind of where I am. Not a great first day as February 5th. Good rebound the next day. My account right now is at 1550. That's what I'm currently holding in Binance. And I'm hoping that the market makes it shift, that I'm able to kind of capitalize on that in the next few days and get my account up to at least the 2,000 range, where still, very, very tight on that, but at least it's making kind of moves forward as I was making kind of dumb trades during the whole course of this series. As the market was coming down, I just couldn't help myself. I just wanted to time it. But, I kind of learned a I kind of lost some money, but I definitely learned some lessons, and I I kind of viewing everything in a different light at this point. I feel like while I'm far from being a very experienced trader, I feel like I've learned a lot of information in a very short period of time, and it's just kind of all starting to really come together. It's not fully there yet, but it's like the pieces are starting to come together, between all the indicators that I've learned about, the patterns, the price action, the list goes on and on. Just so much information to put together that as you kind of start to learn and make mistakes and relook stuff up, it kind of starts to kind of gel together at one point. And I feel like that's really where I am right now. So that's pretty much it. I'm looking forward again to the next few days and hopefully, have some successful days. And as usual, I hope you guys crush it. I know you guys are going to kill it. And really, that's what we're here for. If I can help in any kind of way, I'd love to help you guys make more money, and vice versa. I'm hoping that this is going to be a nice, close knit community where we can kind of bounce ideas off of each other and help each other be successful as traders. And obviously, if you're a new trader and you're going to kind of start to view these videos, that I can help you on your way to hopefully see if this can be a viable option for you to kind of take up while these thoughts are going through your head. So again, if you found any value in these videos, please share it and subscribe it. As usual, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I hope we continue to kill it. I hope this is the end of this bleeding, and I'm looking forward to getting back to trading. So again, have an awesome day. Talk to you guys soon.